G'day guys, welcome back to Beers and Breakevens heading into round 23. Proudly brought to you this week by Ruben Porter, an immortal of the game. One of the greats of all time. What a weekend it was, Timbo. Great for some, not so great for others. Which side of the fence were you on?
Well, let's start off. I've got a question for you, mate. Were you kissed on the dick at birth, or has that come up more recently in your life?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, that dick has taken a pounding recently of kisses. Been very lucky. Played Ruben Porter this week, 98. Played, who else did I play? Finu.
One who advised you to play Porter.
No. What, are you going to claim that one too, are you?
Yeah, let's go back on the record. You weren't going to play.
please.
You weren't going to play when I said play Ruben Porter.
No.
And here we are.
You are full of shit.
No, I'm actually not.
I don't believe you.
We'll get it up post-show. I reckon I told you to do it, and you get, okay.
There we go. Timmy Williams claiming another one. Fucking unbelievable. Val Holmes, VC, only because Tim told me to do it. And then, yeah, good weekend all round for me, mate. Pretty happy with how it went. I will say this, though, Timmy, and I don't want to sound like a dickhead, but I feel like I keep on having good weeks and I just don't move. Yeah. I'm in the 7,000s for the 10th week in a row now. It's ridiculous.
Are you really having a good week then, or?
Well, I mean, I'm having a better week than some in the room, which I'm enjoying. But I would like to make a bit of a ground on the others, on the other 168,000 or whatever it is.
Other than the other two in the room.
Yeah, this is SuperCoach to me right now.
Yeah,
no one else
I know.
exists.
Thank God we're all within our fighting distance. And look, I've held on to that. I was confident that I'll overcome you and run you down in the long run. But for the first time, I've gotten a little bit nervous on account of Payne Haas going down injured. You dodged that one. The Eli Katoa news, that was an absolute dagger, yes. We were chatting on Monday at Bloke in a Bar. I can't even remember how it came up in conversation, but we were talking about Eli Katoa and you go, I don't own him. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm like, everyone owns Eli Katoa. I 100% thought you did. I was like, beauty, good little pod compared to Guru for the run home, soft draw, bunnies this week go big. Then out of nowhere, out in team list. You're kidding me.
Yeah, he. I think he only played 65 minutes on the weekend. He had to come off and get a knee strapped or whatever. And I think this will be, obviously we'll talk about this a lot over the next few weeks, Timbo, but I think a lot of teams at the top, any knocks and bruises, they'll sit him.
He came back on though.
He did come back on 100%, but I think this will be, if you've got a knock and a bruise and we don't need you to play,
don't.
You just give guys a spell. So plenty to watch there. Yeah, I don't have Eli Katoa, so that's a huge win for me this weekend. A lot of you out there own him, which is fantastic. And still, I kind of feel like my 2RF is a little bit shallow, so I can't imagine how the rest of you are fucking feeling. Must be pretty grim out there.
Well, poor old Clementine Cash, she was on the potty last night. She had Eli Katoa and Bo Fermor in a 2RF, and they just both dropped out of nowhere. Eli Katoa, it was at like 80% amongst top-ranked teams leading into this week. So,
how's Clem going? Haven't seen her in a while.
Yeah, she's in fine form.
Doing good things?
Yeah, not necessarily SuperCoach-wise, but life in general, fine form.
How's she, where's she ranked and whatnot?
I'm going to say 10, 11 Ks.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Kat, how'd you go on the weekend? Buddy-o?
Buddy-o.
Why not?
Buddy-o. Not a great week, honestly. 1,081 was my score. I moved down up 2,000 spots.
You improved 2,000 spots?
No.
Gotcha. Yeah.
No, I'm moving up. The number is getting greater.
Yeah, okay.
I'm getting sadder.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the vibe. But on the positive, I've got 9 trades and 2 boosts left, so I'm ready to make some changes.
That is insanity. Wild.
I've actually, as Kat and I waited what felt like days for you to rock up from about even this morning, we had a good little chat.
We did.
Had a bit of a gas bag, found out a lot of things about each other, got through plenty, and one of those many things, Kat wanted to be an astronaut when she was younger.
I did.
Really?
Yeah.
What was that?
I love space. I go on, I just love everything about space, the whole concept. I go on those, deep dives on TikTok and YouTube. I need to know everything. I don't understand it all, but I love to try and understand it. But I had to conquer my fear of flying first as a kid before I could really grasp the concept of going to space. But now Elon Musk is making it possible for us. So who knows? I might get there one day.
It's good to know. I knew she was a fan of space when there was so much space between my rank and hers.
Ooh, wow.
I'm so annoyed that I just set myself up for that one.
That's cool.
If you stick with Guru long enough, he can take you up in his rocket one day.
Hey, what'd you learn about Cletus over here?
Big. So we got onto the space chat because I love Interstellar, the film.
Great film.
But what we both like is Hans Zimmer, who did the score for that, or the soundtrack for that movie. And Timmy was at a live performance recently for Hans Zimmer, a bit of an orchestra vibe. I actually went to Hans Zimmer a few years ago as well. So anyone out there who loves a bit of a movie soundtrack, this is your place.
Yeah, Brendan Hans Zimmer. Love to see it. Okay.
Sorry, mate. I scored 11:51. So
I was about to ask you, but sure.
Yeah, 11:51. So dropped 1,000 spots, back into 13Ks. Tough going.
Tough going. I scored 1,221, rank of 7,707. I have 5 trades left. Cat's got 9. Timbuktu?
6.
It's going to be an interesting week. Very interesting week. Let's have a look at the weekly scorer this week. And obviously, if you've won previously, had some footballs all on their way out to you. They're all in the air, are they, Timbo?
They should be there by now.
Should be there by now. Unreal. So, tag us on Instagram and whatnot when you've got them. Make other people jealous. That's what you've got it for. And let's have a look at the Beers and Breakevens group. As I just upload that, I found a league, Timmy, that I'm in, that someone made where they put themselves and all the experts. It might be the luckiest thing I have ever seen. I am ranked 7,000th. There are 7 experts in front of me who are ranked in the top 3,000, and I am number 1 overall in that league. I've got more wins in that comp than Savs does, who's 33rd overall. It's unbelievable. And if you have a look at the for and against, every single one of those 7 is plus 1,300 and above. I'm plus 600.
Oh my
God. I just happen
gosh.
to have won every game. Crazy. I've only lost 3 or 4.
That is like incredible.
It's head-to-head summed up.
Yeah. It's one of the great things about like this season, like one of the real silver linings, tough year and, dead set borderline about to become a head-to-head focused player out of the way this year's gone. I'm not even ranked well enough to make that many head-to-head finals. And then I look and go, thank God the overlords over at SuperCoach headquarters at the Daily Telegraph made us experts. So I'm in about 5,000 leagues. So at least I've made a few head-to-head finals.
You have made some?
Well, surely. There's got to be some competitions out there with like zombie teams who have stopped playing.
Oh, it's good to see.
I've jaded a few. All
right, our weekly winner this week, 1,557 SKLT. That team is coached by Tharshan. Apologies if I've got pronunciation wrong there, mate. But send an email to beersandbreakevens@gmail.com. We can get you sorted out with a hat and a football. Congratulations there, mate. And Timbo, the overall in the Beers and Breakeven, it's starting to heat up just quietly. $6,000 up for grabs there. Our current leader is Blake, Bryce's boys, who his overall... he's first there. So looking at a big take home there just quietly, and he's about 70 points in front of second.
If Bryce wins it overall, he gets 50K SuperCoach, he gets 6K from Beers and Breakevens, he gets 1,000 from SC Playbook, he wins 57 grand.
How good's that? Love to see it. And you get that stupid horse trophy, which we've hardly used this year that I can't wait to get rid of. So brace yourself for that. Unreal. All right. Should we get into TLT, Timbo?
Yep.
Okay. TLT. Thursday night, we got the South Sydney Rabbitohs taking on the Melbourne Storm, 7:50 p.m. from Macau. For the Bunnies, Cody Walker named to play at 7. Thankfully, it's the first game. On the edges, you've got Cheekham. You've essentially got anyone not named Tallis Duncan at the moment. He's on the bench, and Shaq Mitchell makes his return on the pine as well. For the Melbourne Storm, Eli Katoa out. Told you all not to buy him. He's only going to play 3 of the last 5 games. Love to see it. Trent Leroux moves to the edge, and Nass in jersey 13. The Eli Katoa one, mate, huge dagger for SuperCoach players out there that don't know what they're doing.
It's particularly a huge dagger for head-to-head finals week 1.
Yeah.
So played with Potty last night. We tried to give a real emphasis on taking into account trades, ins, outs, all that sort of stuff this week. Of course, head-to-head finals week 1. So those that lose Eli Katoa for it, it's a bit on a week that the Roosters are on a bye, probably the most SuperCoach relevant team in the competition. It's a huge dagger, and haven't seen a lot of news around it. Look, I'm with you. I think the fact that there hasn't been news out of it suggests it shouldn't be anything serious. The fact that he came back on the field suggests it shouldn't be anything serious. You would think 1 week out, potentially 2, but you'd think it's only 1 weeker.
I would suggest with this South Sydney game this week, I think the Storm would have their eyes on next Thursday night against the Panthers.
Yeah.
So I'd be shocked if he doesn't feature in that one.
Could you... I don't think an overall player is going to sell. Head-to-head players, though, with off this week, potentially off next week, but otherwise returns against Penrith anyway in Penrith. Could you look to sell?
Oh, mate, for sure. Because have they got a bye at the back end?
No.
Somewhere? They don't, okay. So he's missing this week and then Penrith next week. Yeah, mate, honestly, I haven't had him all year and it really hasn't hurt me that much. There's been a couple of games where it's got a little bit hairy, but he hasn't completely ruined me. So I could understand you making the move. If you're making the move, it's got to be Angus, doesn't it?
That's the only way I'd understand is if he's your ticket to Angus Crichton.
Yeah.
But even so, like, after the Panthers, Dolphins, Cowboys, Broncos, like, he's a 72 averaging back rower with upside. If he's expected back next week, as we predict, I'd hold.
Yeah, I can understand it from a point of view, sorry, it's not they've got a bye. We know they're going to rest against the Cowboys. Well, from what we've been told.
Yeah, we do. I do. There's a few things too that, I mean, firstly, Eli Katoa now misses this week. So do they want him missing this week, then another one in round 26, missing, 2 of the final 5 games? But the other thing is the minor premiership race is heating up a little bit. I don't think Ivan Cleary or Craig Bellamy are going to care that much about it. It's a good bonus. I think they both have eyes on the title. They've both run a plethora of minor premierships. So, but it is worth noting that if that's going to be a very tight race.
Yeah, I'd love to have a conversation with them and see how much they do care about that because I think they're both locked in for 1 and 2, right? Like it'd be something pretty extraordinary to see them drop out of 1 and 2.
Exactly, and isn't it $100,000?
Yeah, it's
Is
peanuts.
that still only $100,000?
Yeah,
like they're not going to give a rat's about that.
you'd be better off getting another pokey in the RSL. So yeah, we'll see how that one all plays out. Battle of the West, Eels, Panthers. That one is, I have skipped a game. Titans, they're the late game on Friday night. Titans v Sharkies for the Titans. Haas on the edge, no Bo Fermor. AJ Brimson on the extended. He came back a couple of weeks ago. Timmy played fullback and Keeney went to the bench there. I don't know if I could be dropping Keeney out of this side. It's a tough one.
I said that last time that Brimson came back and it happened, so... I have no idea.
Yeah, I have no idea either. A very interesting one there. And I mean, it's not like any of the wingers or centres are playing bad enough that you could drop them as well. So very tough. For the Sharkies, Brayley at 7, Cam McInnes at 9, Beryl at 14. I reckon Puru's going to make his debut. He's 18th man. I reckon he will come in and play halfback. I think Brayley will go back to 9. Cam McInnes will go back to 13. No mail. I'm just eyeballing it.
Guru says Puru.
Guru says Puru. Don't mind that from you. No Bo Fermor. When I read that, I didn't really think too much about it, but he would have been a nice pod play for people out there last few weeks. No one's going to sting.
Yep.
Eels, Panthers, Battle of the West, Combank, 8 p.m. Timmy, unless you've got something to talk about with this game, both essentially 1-17 from my eyeballing yesterday. Anything to touch on there?
No, nothing, mate. Dane Laurie back in at fullback.
Dane Laurie,
concussion, but no, there's not too much going on.
Super Saturday, Raiders v Manly, GIO Stadium, 3 p.m. for the Raiders. Ethan Strange returns at 5'8" after a spell last week. Cook into jersey 14, Simi Sasagi into jersey 17. I guess the only thing to touch on there, mate, Cook into 14. Tommy Starling. Becomes interesting. Have we got him in stats or anything later?
No, we don't, no.
Mate, I'm just talking off the dome and from what I've been watching last few weeks, he's been flying.
Would have been a great pickup at 217k in round 15 when he hadn't started a game all year.
What's he at now?
505k.
Oh, boy.
Mate, he just... If you can lock down the big minute starting role, he'll be relevant for next year because he'll start very cheap because he's averaging 34 for the season. But look, I had a few messages about it, when he started getting the bigger minutes, and I'm just like, look, you can do it if you want, because if he keeps the minutes, happy days. But with all the hooking rotation that Ricky goes with all the time, how could you bank on it? But here we are, 5 games, and he's played 68-plus minutes, 5 in a row.
Mate, even next year, if Ricky Stewart got tattooed on his forehead, Tom Starling is my starting 80-minute hooker, I still wouldn't believe him.
No.
I still couldn't do it. Simi Sasagi, the only notable one there for no one else other than me who could really ruin my AEs there, hoping Simi just quietly takes a step out of the side. I doubt it though. I'm a bit surprised that Morgan Smithies has been named this week. He got knocked the fuck out last week.
Wouldn't have hated Sasungi being named on the bench last week when you looped Val Holmes. But
Would have been handy.
That's all right. Yeah, category 2. So, I mean, Ricky said after the game that he didn't expect Smithies to play, I don't think, this week. So, watch that space. He'll have to pass protocols, but definitely in doubt.
Manly Seagulls, they obviously come off the bye. Tomatella and Ruben Garrick in the centres. Lehigh's on the wing. My favourite story of the week, Lockie Croker returning. One of the great fellas. Great to see him back. We have got Paseka and Nathan Brown in the front row. We'll talk about that soon. Ola Kawata on the edge. The little Carl Lawton that might have locked himself down an edge spot, which is great to see. Gordy in jersey 14 and Burbo also on the bench. Have you got Burbo still?
No, I flipped him.
You flipped him. Nice. Anything to touch on in that game, mate?
Not really there. No, mate, all good.
Cows Broncos are coming in from North Queensland, 5:30 p.m. The Cowboys wearing my favourite Cowboys jersey of all time. Rando was wearing it this morning. It looks unreal.
Is it 04?
What's that? That 03, 04 sort of period. Yeah. Cracker of a time. The Cowboys, Nanai returns on the edge. Ruben Cotter returns in jersey 13. Tommy Chester named on the extended. We spoke about it on Monday, coming off one of the games of the year in Q Cup. Keep an eye on him over the next few weeks. Shout out to my draft team sitting on the bench waiting patiently. For the Brisbane Broncos, Karapani onto the wing replacing Corey Oates, who had a bit of me about him last week on the treadmill, the poor bastard. Rogers at 5'8". Willison replaces Payne Haas in the front row. Percura named on the edge, bit of a cloud around him during the week, but he is there. And Saylor named on the bench, a very interesting move. Anything to touch on in that Cowboys game, mate?
The only thing would be, mate, with people looking for replacements for Payne Haas, do you see like any uptick in Corey Jensen? I mean, he's 522K, so you don't really want to pay that. I'm just getting up as we speak. But like Xavier Willison, what's he, 387K? Does he get an uptick in minutes and become a viable option? They've got to buy in 2 weeks. The season's essentially done. Not really.
Not really for me, mate. Willison, I like Willison, but fuck, he's had some poor defensive plays.
Yeah.
Like he could get hooked at any moment when he's on. Jensen, it's just more of the same, isn't it? Like, yeah, he'll get a bit of uptick, but I don't know if I want to. I mean, I can't tell you how happy I am, Timbo, to not have to fucking use another trade on front row forward. Been a nightmare.
Yeah, well, 50% of us have to bloody do it.
I love it. It's great. Yeah.
Surely they give slightly off topic, but like, are they mathematically done, the Broncos, or can they still technically make it?
I think mathematically they can make it, but
surely
I think they
you
are.
give Ben Takura a game, like.
You think so?
Yeah.
Think so. Is he on the extended?
He's on the extended, yeah. So he's available anyway.
Interesting, but yeah, no, I'm not. I know it sucks with Payne Haas being out, but I probably wouldn't be looking at those Broncos guys.
No, you still have to touch them at the moment.
All right, let's move to the next game. We have got game of the week here for me. Dragons Bulldogs, the Winston Neville Cup, coming to you from Net Strata Jubilee, 7:35 p.m. Dragons, they're essentially 1-17. Jack Bird named on the extended bench. For the Doggies, Curran named at prop, just because he had an injury last week, but he is there, which is good to see. Anything in that game?
Not really. You touched on it, Curran. Just watch this space because I think he's far from guaranteed to play this week, which in a week where people have already lost Payne Haas, to lose Josh Curran as well could be diabolical.
That's my Tuara done.
Yeah, that would really hurt.
Yeah.
That would hurt heaps.
Your 2 front rows gone.
Well, I have Josh Curran and Payne Haas.
So do I. I've got Finu.
We have so much in common, Timmy.
I know. Great people. Great minds. All your SuperCoach teams.
Both fucking pretenders. All right, Sunday afternoon footy. We've got the Dolphins and the Warriors from Suncorp Stadium at 2 p.m. For the Finn, TPJ and Cody Nikorima back in. And, mate, one that I didn't expect, Jermaine Osaka. I was about 8 metres away from that injury, and I felt like retiring when I saw that. It was brutal. Just shows how tough these guys are.
Mental, wasn't it? Looked like his ankle got folded.
Even if he doesn't play, for him to be in the ballpark of being on a team list this weekend is insane to me.
Big one for owners because gets a good matchup against the Warriors at home. Would say at Suncorp, and people need numbers this week, and he's a big one.
I wonder with a foot injury if he goal kicks this week if he does play. Could be a little interesting spot to watch. I think it was his left foot. He's right-footed though, isn't he, Osako?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
I can't remember either.
But an interesting spot to watch there.
Is he?
He's right-footed?
Yeah. Swear.
I'll take your word.
I'm actually starting to second guess that.
Well, I'm
How confident are you?
I'm pretty confident. I'm like
Okay.
visualizing him kicking right now.
I am a shocker when it comes to trying to remember if players are left or right footed.
Yeah. Okay. We'll have a look at that.
I'm on the case.
For the Warriors, RTS, he moves to centre, Ed Cossey on the wing. We're talking pre-show. I think Roger Tuivasa-Sheck will go to right centre. I think Ali Leotawa will stay at left centre. We'll see how that plays out. You've got RTS, don't you?
Correct.
Yep. Interesting to see how this Sean Johnson retirement and everything, how that impacts the Warriors if they...
I do want to point out, for those who saw on socials yesterday, that you called out that SJ's last game should be the Sean Johnson Cup.
Yes.
Because it's Warriors versus Sharks.
Yes.
I was getting a coffee this morning and someone stopped me and said, that idea Guru had about the Sean Johnson Cup, I love it.
That actually happened? Was it Tim?
They actually asked me, they said, was it your idea? And I said, no, it wasn't my idea.
That's great. I appreciate that.
I'll be at the Sean Johnson Cup, actually. I've already got a ticket.
How good.
I think as fans, we can just take over and call it the Sean Johnson Cup.
Yeah.
The Haddadi is correct. He's right footer.
Right footer. Okay.
I trust my memory.
So you stabilise the foot. All right, let's move to the Knights v Tigers, McDonald Jones Stadium, the game that stopped a nation. The Knights are 1-17. Nothing really to talk about there. That's a very interesting way to spell Knights too. Tigers, Adam Dewey back in, Aiden Caesar at 7, Twal and Fanua Bole on the bench. Anything in that game, mate, for the Kanaga Hitters?
Could be a bit careful there.
I suppose a few of the only little things, just a few good news for owners of like, God, as ordinary as he's been Supercoach wise, again, a week where people are short on numbers. Lucas at centre is great news for Pierce Paul playing 80 minutes. I'm just waiting for the day that he drops to the bench and becomes a 35-minute forward. Jaden Brayley starts again with Crossan at half-back. So as a guy who owns both of those guys, awesome news.
I mean, he didn't drop to the bench on the weekend. He was still a 35-minute forward. I reckon not having Hastings is going to really hurt KPP's scores.
Yeah.
I don't love the idea
Taking
of
them from 45s to 35s.
Literally, I think it's like an extra 5 or 6 hit-ups that he just won't get that he usually
If
does.
he can't get an attacking stat against the Tigers' edges on a Sunday afternoon, Knights playing for finals, I'll give the game up. But I
can only hope.
I will not be betting on it in any way, shape or form.
All right, Teamless Tuesday done and dusted, Timbo. Now, Blue Wealth Property, our sponsors for season 2024. I believe we've got Morts coming in next week to have a yarn. I've got a bit that I want to talk to Morts about. Obviously, his old man played a pretty critical role in the New South Wales Blues victory this year, mate. Very keen to hear about that. Now, Blue Wealth Property, obviously, normally we have the events and whatnot that are upcoming. We've actually got this week, same as we did last week, the opportunity for you to have a direct conversation with the Blue Wealth team about your situation and if investing in property is right for your wealth creation goals. Many of our Beers and Breakevens subscribers have connected with Tony, Morts, and the team at Blue Wealth, like Sam and Hannah, who we interviewed on the show a few weeks back. Some have made the decision to invest in property and take control of their financial future. Tony's team will chat through in detail what Blue Wealth do, how they identify great property to invest in, but more importantly, get to understand your situation and work out a plan of attack. Click on the link in the show notes and book a discovery call with the Blue Wealth team today. I think this is a fantastic way to go about it, Timbo. Put all your cards on the table for Tony and Morts to try and sort you out a little plan. Work out if it is the time for you, if it isn't, whatever it might be. And if it's not, work out for the future what that might look like. Set a couple of goals there.
Absolutely, mate. Find out. It's all about education and working out where you're at financially. And look, get on the blower with Tony. Tell him the Dogs will win the comp. He'll probably buy your property for you.
He probably will. Great fella. But yeah, guys, really good opportunity just to get on the dog and bone, have a chat, and just pick their brains as well. Whether it's the right time for you or it's not right now, or it could be in the future where you want to sort of get to. As I said, me and Tim have had a few of these conversations over a beer or whatever with the boys, and like education is key, and the amount that I've learned from it, it has just changed the way that I look at it all. It seemed like such a distant thing that I would just never be able to do, but the way the guys lay it out, it's a game changer.
Well, it's a free call for starters, so there's no harm in doing it. And you'll find out one of two things. They'll either say, look, financially, you're not in a position to do it, Or they might go, you absolutely have the funds to do it, you're in a position in your life to do it, and you could have a property within 12 months. So make the call.
Super exciting. We've already had a number of Beers and Breakevens listeners who have done the same. Great to see. All right, Tim's stat deep dive. We're going to start off with Brian To'o from the Penrith Panthers. Talk to me, Timbo.
Well, my heart nearly skipped a beat when I saw him on the right edge for the Panthers last week because we've said it all year, left edge Penrith, not really where you want to be. It opened up a little bit there, and like To'o in particular had a few good scores while Cleary was out, and they had a few good wins, and Luai just got the ball out to him. But really, you want to be on the right edge at Penrith, and particularly with Nathan Cleary back in the form that he's in. It has changed a little bit because Nathan Cleary is starting to play down the left a little bit more and sweeping off Luai. So it opens up that left wing a little bit more, but I stand by you and be on the right. And a few stats to back that up. Penrith, they've scored 41% of their tries down the right edge this season compared to 33% on the left. That's also not taking into account that there was those big stretch of games with Cleary out. Luai took over, became the dominant half on the left. And then last season, similar sort of thing, 42% of tries down their right compared to 34% down their left. Again, Cleary missed a few games, not taking that into account. Not like dramatic numbers, but the talking point is just To'o on the left. First question, does it stay that way? My suspicion is that it was a defensive move because Tungo and Taruva were getting cut to pieces. So they've gone and put one of the best defensive wingers in the comp in To'o there next to Tungo. It could have been a move, just a body size thing up against Marju last week. Do you think it stays that way?
I have no idea, and I wish I could be more help to those that are listening, but mate, it just seems like a lottery to me every time. I never know what they're going to do, and every time I think I do and I come up with reasoning like you just did there, they change it 2 weeks later. I have no idea. I think Brian To'o, I don't think he's a bad player, whatever wing he's on, realistically. But, I mean, I could sit here and give you all the reasons why he'll stay on this wing or move to that wing. I just have no idea. I don't think any of us do.
Yeah, he really interests me for the run home, regardless of wing, but I much prefer him on the right. Look, I'm not going to go this week on him. First, I want to see what edge he does play on again. In saying, if we can get some images from Captain Tron or something, we can hopefully find it out. Melbourne next week is very difficult. There'll be rest coming at some point in the back end of the season.
Yeah.
That's a concern.
Yeah, it sounds like the Penrith Panthers, after this Melbourne Storm game, which is going to be a big one, they'll stagger their rests, like they've done in previous years. So it is just going to be a bit of a lottery.
I would love for To'o to be rested after the Melbourne game, get it done early with. So with security for those last few weeks, could bring him in for that. I'd be all around.
Yeah, have a look at their games after the Melbourne Storm game. I think they play the Canberra Raiders in the nation's capital. Then I think they've got 2 home games. I want to say Souths and Titans, both of them at home over at Penrith. So surely if they're going to rest, the Raiders game's probably the one. Fucking save a trip down there in the cold, surely.
Yeah. Well, as I said, it's going to be staggered, so who knows?
It is going to be a good point, though. If Brian To'o rests that game, we'll be having serious conversations.
A massive play.
Huge play, yeah. Let's talk about, speaking of the nation's capital and avoiding it like the plague, what about their front row forward? He is flying, Joe Tarpanay. Is he back or what?
Somewhat. He's back because of the injury to Payne Haas, and everyone needs a replacement, except you. 98 points on the weekend, 31 tackles, 7 tackle breaks, a line break, 16 runs. He was awesome in Big Papa's 300th. Very notably, though, 4 offloads.
Yeah.
Looked like they'd maybe been given a bit of a license to do it, whether or not that was opposition-based or a one-week thing, I don't know. But a very, very good sign there. 652K, right up there among the top contenders to replace Payne Haas. One thing I did want to note, though, there's a bit of belief that, and it's been largely true in recent years, that starts the season in slower minutes and builds them up towards the back end of the year. We've said it time and time again. We have seen it in the past. This year, not so much. In his last 5 games this year, he's averaged 55 minutes per game, which is perfectly aligned with his average minutes for the season. Not to say that he won't play a few extra minutes on the run home. However, don't necessarily expect higher scores to come in the back end of the year. I think unless it is a thing where the offload he's been given a license, say, mate, we need second phase play, get the ball moving, and he does that, I think we'll definitely see an uptick. you could be paying the exact value for Joe Tapine for the run home. Good trade in. Don't expect 90-plus scores each week.
Geez, his last month has been good, hasn't it? 68, 60, 71, 98, all with no tries, no try assists during that period. I don't mind the play. If I was a Payne Haas owner, he is probably who I'd be going to. I just wonder, mate, if watching the Raiders on the weekend and they all of a sudden, I think they had like 10 plus offloads or something. Like we've seen weeks where they've had one or two. It's been crazy. I reckon Joe Tapine could be a really good trade in, but there is a gamble, 100%.
I think he, like, look at his base, the last 5 games, 58, 61, 54, 62, 57, outstanding. I think he's probably the best replacement for Payne Haas. I look at
Points-wise, yes. Yeah.
Points-wise, yes. We had a deep dive into it last night, into like all the options to replace him on the Playbook podcast. Like, I'm keen to get your thoughts because Mitch Barnett, tremendous form, points-wise probably the number one option, but over 800K, around 27 buy. I can't go near it. Fanua Blake, does he get lesser minutes on the run home if the Warriors are done? I think Taps of the premium options is the pick.
I'll tell you what, when I look at this Raiders side this week, the bench, Adam Cook, Trey Mooney, Ata Mariota, Simi Sasangi, and that's before Morgan Smithies is potentially ruled out. Mate, I reckon he plays enormous minutes this week.
Yeah.
And if they win this week against Manly, which I reckon they're a good shot to at home, I can't believe how many people are writing them off after a loss at home. Their season's alive. They're a chance to make the finals still. Honestly, the more I talk about it, the more I actually like the trade.
Yeah, I think it's a solid play.
Yeah. Okay, let's move to our next player on Tim's deep dive. We've got Jaden Sewer from the St George Illawarra Dragons. Obviously, a bit of carnage in the 2RF this week. What do you got on Sewer?
Chipped away to a very solid Supercoach season, Jaden Sewer. And Dragons players have just been so hard to come by because of the inconsistency in their results. One week they're up, the next week they're down. Sewer obviously the origin impacted as well. But mate, he's averaging 66 this season and scored 93 against the Storm, one of the games of his career down there. 2 tries, a try assist. He was brilliant. He has a 3-round average of 85, a 5-round average of 79. He's off the back of Origin. He's come out absolutely firing. His base is very poor, 41 per game. 4 tries in his last 3 games. Not one that I'm going to be going near, but as I said, people do need back rollers. The Dragons run home's pretty good. He has a lot of attack in him. They're playing good footy, playing for finals. Probably more one to monitor for next year because if the Dragons continue to develop on what they've built this year, which there's no reason why they shouldn't, he's been really good.
I just 4 tries in the last 3 weeks. His 3-round average is 85. For a back rower that I'm also going to have to spend 670K on. Yeah, not for me. But if you are looking for a pod play, I mean, outside of the Bulldogs game this week, Titans, Sharks, Para, Canberra again at the end. It's not bad. Not for me, but an interesting talking point there, Jaden Sewer. Okay, our last one. Oh boy.
Oh, yeah.
Big talking point this week. Shout out to Anthony Seibold, who when he arrived at the Manly Seagulls decided, you know what, I'm going to buy Taniela Paseka a mirror to put in his house so he can realise how big he is. And it has worked just quietly. I think his last year or so has been tremendous. He's come back from injuries, looked good. You got him a good value here. And a little friend of mine is a little bit keen on Paseka. Take us away, big dog.
Yeah, Anthony Seibold, big Taniela Paseka guy.
Huge Taniela Paseka guy.
Mate, people looking for front row forward replacements for Payne Haas. Now, we've touched on a few of the bigger names there and the premium options who certainly have bigger scoring upside than Taniela Paseka. I get that. However, we're also at the stage of the year where, look, let's say most teams, certainly after this week, will be running 3 front row forward guns. The squad should be pretty deep. On an ideal week, you don't really want to be playing your 3rd front row forward each week unless you're forced into it. So I look at my circumstances where I've got Curran and Fainu, and I'm like, you know what, they're both chipping on fine. I'm happy to play them for the weeks running home. The Tigers do have a bye to come. I'd need to cover it 1 week. But Taniela Paseka had a 6-point injury game against the Dragons a while back, had a stretch off of games, and then he played 30 minutes on return from injury. Bottoms out at 302K. He's averaged 47 minutes per game this season for a 44-point average. that upticks to 47 points per game when you take off those 2 games I just mentioned. Last year, he averaged 54 points in 48 minutes. He's currently priced on a 30-point average. He's a front rower that can bust tackles, got an offload on him, all those good sort of things. He'll be a vital cog for Manly on the run home, who have a soft draw. At 302K, mate, the way what I've planned out is I want to be able to get Angus Crichton and Joey Manu next week, and I want to do it for blokes in my team that I don't really want to play at the moment. I'm looking at like Pierce Paul and Watene-Zelezniak out, or Lane and Watene-Zelezniak out. My second trade this week was always going to be a cash generation trade. So I look at Payne Haas and I go, all right, I can go him down to Paseka, make myself 325K, use that for to fund my trades next week. Don't really have to, don't intend on playing him on the run home very often. There might be a week here or a week there. I think it's a play.
Yeah, I don't like the buy of Paseka for him solely, but it's what else it allows you to do with that money that makes sense. So, yeah, I could throw stats at you about Paseka about, he's had, just 30 tackle breaks this year, 4 offloads, but he's 302K. You're freeing up, 350 odd K from Payne Haas there, which allows you to get Joey Manu, these sort of guys. I think the other thing with Paseka, mate, which I think will become more important as the season goes on, Manly Seagulls are not going to be in a position to rest guys. He's just come off a big spell. He'll at least play every single week. Even if he's only getting your 40s or 50s, there's going to be weeks at the back end of this season where I think people are going to have 16 players every week. He'll do a job. So, the actual buy of Paseka I don't love, but I think he is the best option out of those guys to free up cash and allow you to make other moves. So I get it.
And look, last game out, he scored 51 points in 51 minutes. That was his second game back from a relatively lengthy injury layoff. He had 5 tackle busts in that game as well. So, yeah, I really don't mind it. And, if there's a week or two that I have to play him and he comes out and knocks out 45, I'm like, cool, front row forward, whatever. Yep. And I cannot emphasise this enough. There was a comment on the Playbook YouTube last night saying, what in the world are you doing? Like, Paseka, he's not going to get your points this time. You're like, I couldn't have spelled any more clearly. This trade allows me to go 2 bludgers to Manu and Angus Crichton next week. Do I think he's going to score more than Joe Tarpany or Adam Fanua-Blake on the run home? No. But I'm fine with that.
Yep. No, I completely agree. And mate, I reckon there's every chance as we get on this run home that a lot of people will end up having to play Terrell May here, who's going to go 30 or 60, and if you're getting 45 from Paseka every week, you'll take it. I don't, and like I understand people will look at this trade of Tim and go, he's not a good guy to trade in, but you're not going to win and lose shit in the front row.
No.
Doesn't fucking matter. It's all about freeing up cash for those other big gets.
All going to plan, and it's SuperCoach, things will change, I get it. Curran and Finu play every game on their own home. The Tigers have a bye. I play Paseka once this year. That is ideal. And I'm very aware. Curran's in doubt this week. I may have to play Paseka this week, but that's the way I'm viewing it.
Yeah. And I mean, Curran scored 45 on the weekend. Wasn't the end of the world.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, I get it, mate. I don't love trading him in, but I get it 100% what it allows you to do. Okay. Are we done with deep dive, mate? Anything else?
That's it, mate. That's a nice segue into trades.
It's a lovely little segue. Trades, mate. I might start with you. Obviously, Paseka. So it's Payne Haas to Paseka.
That's what I'm looking at, yep. And then Ryan Pappenhausen to Kalen Ponga. Look, I am Denard after Pappy's outstanding 11 points in 80 minutes on the weekend, but it just wasn't quite enough to make me want to stick with him. Pappy, you can lock him in for a ton this week because I'm selling him against the Bunnies. The matchup couldn't be much better, especially the Storm coming off that loss. But, Matt, I mentioned last week, even after he scored a mid-90s, he's getting these foot injections. He just looks off pace, and the weekend confirmed it. I look at that compared to a fully fit Ponga with their run home. I like it. And the other thing with Pappy, he plays Penrith next week. In Penrith, you would think with his foot concern, he's surely getting a rest on the run home at some point.
Yep.
Ponga playing for everything with the Knights. I think it makes sense.
Yep, completely fair. Paseka in, yeah, okay. Can I ask you, if Pappy scored 100 last week, would you still be making this trade?
Probably not.
Okay, yeah.
Because of the matchup,
it
just made 11 points against. I know the Dragons were great, but 11 points to the Dragons down there. Like,
As a fullback, 11 points against anyone.
It's remarkable. There's Ryan Pappenhausen who bust tackles for fun, racks up big runs, all that. Something is off with Ryan Papp. Well, not something. His foot is off.
His foot. Yeah.
So,
completely fair. Mate, when I have a look at my team, sorry to be a little bit boring, I don't think I make a trade. If I do, it would only be to get Angus or Joey Manu in a week earlier, just so that if carnage happens, I can use 2 trades next week. But even though, like, maybe a Kai Paul to a Angus Crichton, maybe, or the other one I'm thinking is maybe Terrell May straight to him. But yeah,
I think with all the injuries that are happening and how quickly this game changes in the back end of the season, I think it's very dangerous going early on one of those players. Like, you just, who knows?
I'll tell you what is one scenario I can see playing out. If I VC, we'll get to it soon, but if my VC goes big and I'm going to take a loop, which we don't do very often, but I've done it twice in the last month, then I would look at maybe going a Simi Sasangi to Joey Manu.
Oh, nice. So you've got an absolute bank in there.
Potentially, yeah. I've got 295. Simi Sasagi's 295k. I've got 424k in the bank, so I could go straight to him.
Nice,
I think. Yeah.
I've been pretty clear about my trade plan. I've had one in place for a while now, for about 3 or 4 weeks. I want the Roosters boys next week. That'll leave me 2 trades for the final 3 rounds, which play it by ear, see how it pans out. But that'll be my team set. Who are your targets for the run home? Do you have any particularly in mind that you really want? Or
Angus is definitely one. Need to get Angus. I'm 50-50 on Manu. I'm knowing that you're going him. I sort of want to leave it. There is part, I'm not going to lie, but I've never been as keen on Manu as other people when he's playing centre. So I'm a little bit 50-50 on that. I just think the Roosters, they've got so much strike that it isn't like an absolute, and without Dom Young as well, I don't know. I'm not totally convinced on Joey Manu. There's every chance I could get him next week, but I'm not 100% in that camp. Zach Lomax is one that interests me.
Here's what's going to happen.
Here we go.
I'm going to go Joey Manu next week. You're going to go, I'll play it safe and I'll match him just in case Manu goes big, and you'll get Joey Manu in. There's not a world you don't get Manu in.
No, mate, I've gone against him on a number of occasions when everyone's jumped on him. I've never been the biggest Joey Manu guy when he's playing centre. When he's playing fullback, it's a no-brainer. But, even on the weekend, like, he obviously got sin binned and whatnot. Like, he probably would have scored 40-odd points in that game. That was in a game that the Roosters scored 40 points. Yep. Like, I don't know. I'm happy to let him go. But
I will say...
Yep.
You're about to touch on him, but there are some very good alternatives.
There are some very good alternatives. I don't know who do you think I was about to say?
Lomax,
yeah.
Because you said it.
Lomax, I'm very interested in. I forgot I already said it. Lomax, I'm very interested in. I'd be happy to jump on him. And then, mate, I want to have 2 trades in the last week to just jump on whoever I think has the hot hand. There'll be restings and stuff. That might mean that I can grab if Bulldogs rest guys, I'd take a punt on a Skelton, or I will be making some moves at the back end. But at the moment, mate, the only ones I've really got my eyes on are definitely Angus Crichton. I like the idea of Lomax. But other than that, I'm pretty happy with the squad I've got. Dom Young. What do we reckon?
Currently the second most traded player this week, which is very interesting. The word is that the Roosters came out and said, hoping to have him back after the bye in round 24. So it's obviously very minor. I'm happy to hold him. With his upside for the run home, I absolutely want to hold him. I can cover him up until that point easily. So I think overall players, like, I actually have trades up my sleeve. I could deal with it and get rid of him, but I think most people have probably got sub-5 trades. I would be looking to hold. Head-to-head players is probably a different story. If he misses this week and next week, first 2 weeks of head-to-head finals, I guess I understand those people selling him, but if you sell him and he plays next week, like, who have they got? Their whole run home soft. He could decide your next week of finals or your prelim or your grand final. How do you feel?
I'm not too sure on him. I'm really undecided. I've heard mixed reports about when he could be back and whatnot. I'm going to hold him this week, see what the Roosters are saying next week, then make a call on that. There is one more guy I want to throw in as another one that I'm looking at that I don't think many people will be. I just love their run home. He's a very consistent scorer. Dane Gagai is the other one I don't mind.
Oh, here we go.
I don't mind Dane Gagai at all. He's a little bit more expensive than what I would like, $686K, which isn't great. But that run home, man, they've got Tigers this week, Sharkies, then they play South, and then they finish with Titans and Dolphins, both in Newcastle.
Has a base of 38 for the season. The draw couldn't be much better. I'm not convinced on the Knights. Like, they're so hard to weigh up because in theory, and I think people fall in love with the fairy tale of 2023 and what they did on the run home, but the reality is I thought they were fantastic against Penrith, playing a very conservative brand of football which did not necessarily suit Kalen Ponga for starters or any of the attacking players. The week before that, well, they had a bye. The game before that, I should say, it was against Brisbane in Newcastle. They got pumped. Yep. Brisbane, who have been terrible. They should go on a decent run home playing for finals, but not necessarily. Like, I don't knock the Gagai bye, but I would be wary of stacking Ponga, Marju, Gagai. They could easily lose 3 or 4 of their 5.
Yeah, they could, but those 3 guys tend to score 50 points each week without it's a play that I will be seriously looking at, and if we get to if we get through this Tigers game and this Sharkies game, he's got a break even of about 110 or so, Dane Gagai. He's one that I will seriously consider for South, Titans, Dolphins for the run home.
If they go bang bang and win or beat the Tigers, put up a fight against the Sharks, with those 3 going home, and you've had a look and the Knights look good, that's different.
If he was the same price as Joey Manu, I would seriously consider going him this week. Yeah. I'd be very close to pulling the trigger on it.
Yeah.
Kat, have you got any idea, trades and whatnot this week?
No. I've been taking it all in because you're addressing my areas of concern, which is Payne Haas. And I think I've also targeted getting Crichton back into my team too.
Yeah.
So I'm really like the Paseka idea in terms of freeing up some cash. I'm considering a boost this week. You're gonna tell me that I don't have to do that because how
much? Don't you have a heap of cash?
No, because I bought Payne Haas.
Yeah,
I don't have as much cash as I had
trades
before.
are cash at this point of the season too. Like that's the other that's the other great spot that you find yourself in. Like if I was you, I'd be trading out Dom Young this week and just bringing him back later. With 9 trades, you can.
Yeah.
Fair. Haven't ruled that out, but I'm thinking of boosting this week and just addressing my key areas of concern, and then, like you said, being a bit more reactive with the Dom Young one potentially and just getting someone in purely for the sake of getting some points this week. I also ended up getting Connor Tracy last week.
Oh, what?
Yeah. So I think I fell for the Bulldogs a little bit last week because I ended up at the game and I thought, why not make it more exciting by having Connor Tracy on my team? But he scored 61. So not bad. And I'm pretty excited to have him against the Dragons because I feel like he's going to play really well. But
the beauty of that is he's got a -12 break even. Like if he does do well, no one's going to be able to buy him after this.
No chance.
So I like it.
Yeah. So I did that. But so in terms of injuries, I've got Dom Young, I've got Payne Haas, and I do have Eli Katoa as well. So those are the positions I'm looking to play around with this week.
Okay, we'll do a catch up with Kat a little bit later in the week to get her trades. That'll be in the Roo Crew for you guys. All right, Sit V starts, Timbo. Fucking enormous week. I'm getting some serious headaches from this. My guys, mate, the first one I'm gonna sit that maybe it's a little bit controversial. I don't know how controversial it'll be. I've got Cody Walker. I'm not going to play him.
I think that's a good shout.
I think against Melbourne, I'm going to leave him. I will be playing Casey McLean as one of my reserves against the Parramatta Eels. I'm going to have Tommy Turbo as one of my reserves, as I think I'm going to captain KP. We'll get to that soon. I'm going to have DCE as one of my reserves. So that leaves my last spot, mate, is between Porter, Pierce Paul, Fainu, Egan, or Cody Walker. What would be your advice to people here?
Who was the first person you said there?
So it's Cody Walker, Simi Sasongi, Ruben Porter, Kai Pierce Paul, Fainu, Wade Egan. They're my options. I fucking hate that I've got both of the West Tigers edges.
Hey, are your two best players on the weekend?
No, tell me about it. Yeah. Sorry, that's assuming Josh Curran plays too, so that could change as well.
I mean, it's very little between all of them, isn't it?
Yeah.
I like probably the 2 80-minute edge back rowers in, like, as disappointing as Pierce Paul's been, it's a great matchup against the Tigers this week. Left edge going at their right, so he'll be going at Aiden Caesar, which doesn't scare me. I actually prefer him going at Caesar than Lockie Galvin. Galvin's tremendous defensively. Probably Pierce or Fainu.
Do you think if KPP was going to get a try, it's this game?
If it's got to happen, it's got to be this week.
You sound like me for the last 22 weeks.
Yeah, mate, there is very little between them. Like, Wade Egan came off the bench last week, didn't he?
He did, yeah.
So you can't really play him, I don't think. As you said, I don't like the Cody play against the Storm. I think the Storm, after losing to the Dragons, they are going to be up for it. Yeah, I'd be looking at one of the edge back rowers. So what's that? That leaves us down to Pierce Paul, Fainu, Porter.
Yeah, one of those guys.
Oh, mate.
And you'd play those guys all over Cody Walker? That's where I'm sort of like, fuck, do I maybe just take a punt on Cody Walker, maybe? Pulling a rabbit out of the arse. Like, if he has one good play, he probably outscores those guys.
Yeah, honestly, you take your pick. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what to do there. Tough one. What's your situation look like?
Probably only really one decision to make. Again, like, what have I got out? Dom Young out. James Tedesco out. It's another one there that people have that you don't have this week. Eli Katoa gone. So I'll play on my bench Munster, Cherry Evans, Jaden Brayley. That's been, after a tough season, that's been a little gift. 67 points on the weekend, and he played the whole 80. I believe, did Cogger spell Crossland at some point? Or?
Yeah, Crossland came off with a HIA late.
HIA, yeah.
But with about 15 minutes to go, I don't know if Cogger was going to get on, to be completely honest with you.
And again, I know they got done. I thought they were really good last week, the Knights, and they played a pretty conservative style of footy, and Brayley's perfect for that. So, yeah, I'll play Brayley at this stage, and then my decision comes down to relatively similar to you. So I'm playing McLean in my CT dubs. It goes between basically Sean Lane, Dallin Watene-Zelezniak, and Kai Pearce-Paul. I don't want to play Lane against Penrith, so it's basically Pearce-Paul or Watene-Zelezniak. Dallin against the Dolphins. It's a pretty good matchup. Especially, I just love it so much more with Sean Johnson and Charles Cookstad back.
Yeah.
When they didn't have like a ball playing fullback, I hated the Dallin play. With those two back, it changed it. The upside of Dallin or the 80-minute edge back row was soft matchup in Kai Pearce-Paul.
God, I just have no confidence in Kai Pearce-Paul whatsoever. So did you say Dallin's one of your options as a reserve?
Basically, I will play Dallin or Pearce-Paul. I could also play Paseka, but yeah.
I'd go Dallin.
Yeah, just chase the upside. Eh?
Oh, mate, he's a winger. He could fall over for 2 tries. Yeah. I think that's definitely the way to go.
Especially in this situation. I think, just take the upside of Dallin with 10 hits to Lesniak. So, yeah, I'll probably lean towards that one. And because of my injured blokes and Roosters on bye, I'm not in a position to do it, but I also don't mind the Dylan Brown sit for owners out there against Penrith.
They always show up against Penrith, though.
Yeah, but they're also missing a lot of players.
I think we've been here before, Timbo.
Yeah, but no Hopgood, no Bolo, no Mitch Moses. It's a very different looking team.
Yeah, mate, they're playing good footy though. Like
they played one good game of footy, didn't they?
Oh, they played good last week. They gave it to the Warriors. They took it to the Storm the week before. Up until half time, they were the better side there. I don't know. If I had Dill, I'd probably still play him this week. Okay, if you had Dill and Cody Walker, which one would you play?
Dill.
Dill.
And, Cody's also got a lingering calf issue, so that's a concern.
Yeah, fair. Okay. Kat, any questions about your sit v starts?
No, but I have Dill Walker. I have Dill Brown and Cody Walker, not to confuse the two. But I think I would also rather play Dill Brown than Cody in that instance. I've got Xavier Savage. I've held on to Xavier Savage.
He's a cockroach, that guy.
Pretty much the whole season. And then I'm at Belmore watching him run around thinking he really isn't bad at all. It's not that he's a bad player. He's a good player, but he just doesn't score well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm looking at the 33 points going, is he going to do better against Manly at home? Is he worth just reserving for this game and just seeing what happens?
Honestly, 33 points against the Canterbury Bulldogs, one of the best sides in the comp. I
Yeah.
thought he would have done worse. A year ago, he would have done
Yeah,
worse.
listen to his
Yeah.
last 6 scores: 33, 33, 54, 27, 12, 27.
Loves
the
a
54 was
30.
with the try. The 33 the week before was with the try.
That's pretty grim.
Yeah. So I'm kind of, I'll read you my current reserves. I have Iro as well. So I have Savage, Iro, Jill Brown, Cody Walker, Kai Pearce-Paul, Sean Lane, and then Sam Hughes as my options for reserving. And this is without any trades, of course.
Yeah.
Change
your
will change all that.
team will
Yeah.
change a lot in the next
Yeah.
few days. All right, Timbo, should we finish off with our El Capitanos? VC-wise, mate, I am looking at a Nathan Cleary play on Friday night v the Parramatta Eels. And then my captain, I think I'm going to turn to Kalen Ponga, goal kicking against the West Tigers Sunday afternoon. What are you looking at, mate?
Yeah, similar. VC Cleary. I think you've got to have something on Cleary for that Eels matchup. If the Eels don't turn up, like Cleary could have a field day. So I do think like if he does go his 150 and you can worst case loop him, it's like at least you get some of that.
Yeah.
Thinking that into a Ponga C as well. It just chatting to Matty the Waterboy about it last night, and I raised my concerns about the Knights and their attack and a few different things. Just Sunday afternoon, McDonald Jones Stadium in Newey. Against the Tigers, the run home to finals, it just screams Kalen Ponga, doesn't it?
I think he kills it this week. I think he absolutely explodes. I'd be very, very scared for those out there that are, Tedesco and Turbo owners or whatever. I would be terrified not to have
What about people that own both?
Well, that's the thing. You can't. It's funny. You can't trade either of them for Kalen Ponga.
No.
Yeah.
You just can't. And
No, I just have to accept
Yeah.
that I'm not part of
Teddy's
Ponga.
Teddy's the third most sold player this week, and a lot of that would be people looking at head to head and just going, week one of finals. Head to head players may have saved up enough trades to get Teddy out this week and then back in next week, which wouldn't shock me. So if that's the case, it's fine. But for the overall players out there with Turbo and Teddy, which is a lot, they're not going to be able to get Ponga. So it's funny, like in our head-to-head matchup and trying to run you down, the smart place to go, all right, you're going Ponga, I'll go Cleary and try reel a few back. But, mate, I've got plenty of time to catch you.
There's plenty of points there, though, mate.
I know.
Plenty of points.
So, question if you didn't have a Ponga in this game week.
Yeah.
Obviously, for example, I have Cleary, so I could just set and forget, leave it and just hope for the best against Parramatta. But who do you think would be another?
Do you have any Storm players?
I had Eli Katoa.
So,
That's it. Yeah.
I was going to say, I think Cam Munster, he's a cheeky little VC in the Bunnies game. For those going Cleary, do you have any of the attacking Titans players? Jaden Campbell or Kinney? No, you wouldn't.
No.
Yeah, the VCs, well, you probably don't have a VC then, do you? Like a good one. But that's
I think
fine.
it's just a Cleary set and forget.
Yeah, I don't.
Set, forget, and pray.
Yeah, I think Cleary, obviously. What about Turbo? I know it's down there in the nation's capital, but
hell yeah.
So maybe a little
VC Cleary, C Turbo.
done.
I think the other one that is worth noting, I think the Cowboys playing in that old jersey against the Broncos in North Queensland, your Val Holmes, your Drinkwaters. I know it's a little bit later in the week, but if you can make that work of going one of them into a Kalen Ponga, I'll tell you what, Val Holmes has served me very well the last few weeks.
Yeah, Val has been wonderful. A little VC Val into a C Ponga. Don't mind that.
Don't mind that at all. Just very brave to leave Nath out.
I
isn't it?
agree.
I don't think I have the balls to do that. But yeah, plenty of options there. Absolutely a plethora of options. I'll tell you what, looking at that Newcastle West Tigers matchup and how excited I am about it. Fuck, I still wish I had Bradman Best and he was fit.
Yeah,
this was the game I was excited about.
That hurts.
Hurts.
Big day for Greg the Leg.
Greg the Leg. Okay, we done and dusted?
We are.
Unreal, guys. Thank you for joining us. Once again, best of luck with your trades, your captains, and all your Sit V starts this weekend. And best of luck in week one of head-to-head finals, where all dreams come true. And we will see you later tonight on The Late Show.